My name is Lena and I'm 34 years old. Today, I have a kind of silly story to tell you, but it's still something that bothered my family for years before my husband and I finally put our foot down. Let me start from the beginning. I met my husband, Owen, when we were in high school. We were good friends, but we never dated. After we graduated, we lost contact with each other because we traveled to different states for college. After graduating from college, Owen came back to our home city, and a year later, I came back too. We happened to run into each other at a grocery store and went right back to hanging out like we did back in high school. We developed feelings for each other, and after dating for 3 years, we got married. Our relationship was perfect. Owen and I were always on the same wavelength, and there was almost nothing that we disagreed on. So when Owen asked me if I wanted to start a family only a few months after we got married, of course I agreed. We were both in stable jobs and were more than financially ready for a child. We began trying for a child, and after 6 months of trying, I became pregnant with my son, Zane. Zane has been the light of mine and Owen's life, and we've done everything we can to protect him and make sure that he's happy. You might be wondering what exactly we needed to protect him from. Well, allow me to answer that question. My mother-in-law, Edith, is a bit of a nightmare. Back when we were in high school, I remember she would do anything she could to embarrass Owen. She would show up to pick him up in the most bizarre outfits, or she would blast the most embarrassing songs. She would send Owen the most inappropriate school lunches that initially had all of us in stitches, but as they got more frequent, they began to get horrifying. Anyway, I'd assumed that she left that back in the day, but apparently she loved to terrorize kids. Edith and I had a cordial relationship. We didn't hate each other, but we also weren't each other's biggest fans. When I found out how much Owen was scared of her constantly trying to joke around at his expense, my impression of her only went further down. I only kept the relationship cordial because she was still Owen's mother at the end of the day, and I did not want to disrespect her. Owen and I decided before Zane was even born that if Edith did any of the things that she did to Owen, we'd cut contact with her. Well, Edith began terrorizing Zane almost as soon as he could talk. She kept pushing him around, taunting him, and basically doing anything she could to get a rise out of him. Every time Owen and I tried to put our foot down with her, she'd burst into tears and tell us that she was sorry and that she would never do it again. She would beg us to not let her be apart from her only grandson, and she would tell Owen that he was the only family that she had left, essentially manipulating him into feeling sorry for her. Owen and I would cave in and forgive her for a few weeks, and she'd behave well, and then she'd start again. Would cave in and forgive her for a few weeks. And she'd behave well, and then she'd start again. This went on for 3 years, which is something I deeply regret. And then one day, Edith came over to spend time with us when she suggested that she take Corey to the park for a walk. I was hesitant about sending him with her because I made it a point to only let Corey be around her when Owen and I were present. She usually never made any of her jokes when we were around, but Edith was very insistent about taking Corey to the park. And when Corey heard that he could go to the park, he also started begging me. So I told them that they could go, but they had to be back in half an hour. I gave Corey some cookies to snack on and sent him on his way with Edith. Half an hour later, Corey comes into the home and is bawling. I didn't even ask Edith what happened. I tried my best to calm Corey down, but he refused to tell me anything other than Nana was so mean. When Corey was slightly calmer, I went to Edith and I asked her what she had said to him. "What did you say to Corey? What do you mean he's been crying, and he won't tell me what you said to him? How do you know that I said something?" "Well, he wasn't crying when he left the house with you, but after he came back, he's been crying non-stop." so it could have been one of the boys at the park that said something mean. Corey told me that you said something mean to him. Can we not play this game? Just tell me what you said. I didn't say anything mean. I was just pulling his leg. Corey, sweetie, come here. Yes, Mama, what did Nana tell you? Please tell me. I promise neither Nana nor I will yell at you. Okay, Nana said that I was an ugly duckling and that I will remain ugly forever because I did not share my cookies with her. What, Edith, why would you say that? Are you seriously laughing right now? Corey, I promise you that what Nana said isn't true. I'll talk to you in 5 minutes. Until then, you can go play. Oh, come on. Stop coddling him. It was just a bit of fun. Plus, it taught him the importance of sharing. You want fun, hurt Corey? Nothing about that was funny. How could you say something so mean to him? You seriously don't think it's funny? There's nothing funny about destroying a child's self-esteem. You know what? I've had enough of your stupid jokes. There's no need to be so serious about it. It's all just fun and games. It's not fun and games for Corey. Every time I let you be around him without supervision, you find some way or another to make him cry. And then, Owen and I have to spend hours consoling him and trying our best to make him forget about your mean words and actions. It's not my fault you guys are raising Corey to be weak and oversensitive. I'm just trying to toughen him up for the real world. You can do that through other ways as well. You don't have to bully him for him to learn about the real world. Bully? I'm not bullying him. I'm just joking around. Him. I'm just joking around. Well, he does not like it and neither does Owen or I. So from now onwards I'm not letting you anywhere near my son. If you want to talk to him you can call us and we'll let you speak to him. Are you cutting me off because of one joke? It was not a joke. You hurt Zane. Why aren't you the least bit apologetic? Because I know I did nothing wrong. You know what? Fine. I'll stay out of your lives. I don't want to be around such insensitive people. I was glad that Edith left the house when she did, because if she didn't I was sure that I was going to say some really mean things that she definitely would not have appreciated. When Mark got back home from work that day I told him what Edith had said and he was so angry that he texted Edith to tell her that I was serious about her not coming back until we said so. Edith realized she messed up again and tried her best to get us to give in and forgive her, but we simply couldn't bring ourselves to do that. Instead of responding to Edith, Owen and I did what we always did when Edith upset Zane. We spent the next few days doing everything he liked so that he would feel loved and happy. After a few months Owen and I decided to forgive Edith, but we would not allow her to be around Zane at all. It was something that Zane was happy about too. I kept my distance from Edith, but I let Owen treat her however he wanted because she was his mother, and that's how it was over the next 2 years. We barely spoke to Edith, but we did make sure to check in on her whenever it was too long since we spoke to her. We spent holidays and birthdays with my family and we made sure to wish Edith well during those times too. Edith tried her best to get back in contact with us, but we shut it down fast. The thing is, she was never genuine about her apologies. She was frustrated that we weren't giving in again, so she'd switch from apologizing to mocking us. It was infuriating to have a conversation with her, so I just made Owen deal with that. She was a lot easier on him, and I guess that was why she believed that she and Owen had grown closer. She would always call Owen, and while he mostly ignored her calls, he still picked them up from time to time. Anyway, one day while Owen was in the shower, Edith called him. I ignored it, but she kept calling him. She never called more than twice in a row, so I figured something was wrong. I picked the phone up. Hello, Owen. Hi, Edith. Owen's taking a shower right now. Is everything all right? Oh yeah. I'll just call when Owen's free. I needed to ask him for a favor. No, it's okay. What is it? I just feel a lot more comfortable talking about this with Owen, so I think I'll just wait. He'll tell me anyway, especially if it will involve a decision that we need to make together. Well, my house has some water damage, so it's getting renovated right now, and I wanted to know if I could stay at your place for a while. Oh, how long do you need to be out of your house? About a month, but it could be longer depending on how fast the work gets done. They're still discovering places around the house that have water damage. On how fast the work gets done. They're still discovering places around the house that have water damage. Ah, I know that we don't exactly have the best history, but I would really appreciate it if you help me out. You know that I don't like you being around Zane. You always use him to play pranks, and not only is it embarrassing for us, but it's also very embarrassing for him. I know. I got it from the last time you yelled at me. I have nowhere else to go. I wanted to talk to Owen because he'd be more understanding about this. Even if Owen was more understanding, he'd still need to talk to me about this. Why are you such a prude? Gosh, it's like you can't even take a joke. I can take a joke when it's good. What you do is humiliating, not funny. Are you seriously going to hold that over my head forever, and are you not going to let me have proper shelter because of that? Why can't you stay at a motel instead? We can help you cover some of the expenses if you like. Why would I stay in a motel when my son lives in the same city as me and has a house with a spare bedroom in it? Can you just have Owen call me after he's done taking a shower and talking to you about this? It was a mistake. What are you going to say to Owen that will change how I feel about you living with us? He's the man of the house. He'll definitely tell you to put your feelings aside so that he can help his mother. That's not happening. But I will talk to Owen about this, and I'll call you tomorrow and let you know what we've decided. I need to have your answer in 2 days. All right. I'll let you know. I'll be very honest with you. I did not want her in my home. I have been having a very good 2 years without seeing her too much, and her living in our house for probably more than a month felt like a repercussion for not seeing her often. But I talked to Owen about it anyway. Owen also suggested that she stay at a hotel initially. But when I explained that Edith was against that idea, Owen was upset because of her entitlement. We discussed what to do for a while and eventually decided that we would let her stay with her. She was still a part of our family, and even though we did not enjoy her company at all, we didn't want to turn her away without giving her a chance. She had also been on her best behavior for the last 2 years, so we figured we'd give her a shot. We also had a conversation with Zane about whether he would be okay with his Nana living with us for a little while, and he said he was okay with that. We had a spare room that Edith could occupy, but we would set some ground rules for her to follow. Owen and I knew that Edith would hate the rules, but we knew that those rules needed to be there if we wanted some peace of mind in our own home. I called Edith the next morning while I was at work to tell her what Owen and I had decided. Hi, Edith. Oh God, are you calling me to tell me that I'm not allowed to stay with you? You have to understand that I have nowhere else to go. Calm down. I talked to Owen about it, and even though neither of us is too keen about you staying here, we understand that you have nowhere else to stay, so we've decided that you can stay with us. Days. So we've decided that you can stay with us. Oh, thank God. But, you have some serious rules that you need to follow. What you have to pick up after yourself, do your own laundry, and make sure that your room is clean. And you are not allowed to pull any pranks on us, no Owen, how harmless. What is this, a jail cell? Why are you guys so adamant about me not being a good person? We're not saying you're a bad person, Edith. You just can't seem to understand what's okay and what's not. It's not my fault that none of you seem to understand what's actually hilarious. Do you want to stay with us or not? Of course I do, but I don't want to have to follow so many rules. Then you can stay in a motel where you won't have to follow any rules at all. Fine, whatever. I'll obey your stupid rules. If you play a single prank on any of us, especially Zane, we will make you move out. Do you understand yet? Sure. Does Owen know that you've given me such strict rules? Of course he does. He agreed with whatever I just told you. You're the worst thing that's happened to this family. Owen used to love my jokes, but after he met you, he's changed. Owen never liked them from the start. He had no choice but to bear with it because you are his mother. Zane doesn't like it either, and I will do anything to make sure that he's not uncomfortable in his own home. If that means kicking you out, then I will do it. You're ruining his life by sucking out all the joy from it. You'll regret it someday in the future. Believe me. Zane is a very happy kid, but I can assure you that he does not like your jokes. If you still have a problem with our rules, you can simply not stay with us. No, I want to stay with you. I was stating my opinions. Fine. We'll see you here tomorrow, then. Of course, I wasn't expecting Edith to listen to all the rules I set up, but I really only wanted her to listen to one rule, and that was about her pranks and jokes. Edith came over the next day and was cold towards me, but I didn't care. I kept Zane away from her as much as I could, and whenever Zane had to be around Edith, like during dinner or TV time, either Owen or I would be present. Edith's stay at our place ended up extending past a month, and even though I wasn't happy about it, I didn't mind too much. Edith wasn't a very bad guest, I mean, she wasn't very clean, and she definitely waited until the last minute to do a huge pile of laundry, but she also offered to cook meals for all of us, and she helped me do other chores around the house. So when she offered to start making Zane's lunches for school, I agreed. Of course, I made sure to stand and watch as she made Zane his lunches initially, but over almost 3 weeks with absolutely no incidents from her, I decided to just let her make Zane's lunches in peace. Everything was fine for a few days until one day while at work I got a call from Zane's teacher, Ms. Leslie. My heart dropped, and my gut told me that Edith definitely did something. Hello, Ms. Leslie. Is everything all right? My heart dropped and my gut told me that Edith definitely did something. Hello, Miss Harper. Is everything all right? Yes, I just wanted to ask you if everything is all right at home. Yes, it is. Why is something the oiner with Zane? Since you say that everything's okay at home, I just wanted to ask you how you could send something so inappropriate in your son's lunchbox. What do you mean? During the break today, Zane approached me with a note that was in his lunchbox and asked me to read it out to him because he didn't know what it said. I was shocked when I read what the note said. It was full of explicit words that basically made fun of me. I did not appreciate that. I will have to take this oiner up with the principal and probably the school board. Oh my God! I'm so sorry that happened. I can assure you that neither I nor my husband did that. My mother-in-law is staying with us at the moment and she's the one who packed Zane's lunch today. She loves to play pranks and this was her doing. I'm so sorry that you had to read that note and even more sorry for what my mother-in-law did. I see. It's okay, but you have to make sure that Zane doesn't come to school with these letters again. If Zane and his classmates could read, this would have been an even bigger issue. Yes, I understand that. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Is there any way for you to not report this incident? I had explicitly told my mother-in-law that she wasn't allowed to play her pranks on Zane and she told me that she wouldn't. But she did it anyway. If I had known that she would do it, I wouldn't have let her pack Zane's lunch or let him take what he took today. I understand that family dynamics can be very difficult. And while I understand that this was not something that you or your husband did, I will still have to report you for it. You will need to come to the school today and talk to the principal about this too. All right. Will this affect Zayn's admission in any way? Since you've said that neither you nor your husband did this, I highly doubt that it will affect Zayn's admission. But there will be a little more attention given to him because we cannot have this happening again. Okay, that's no problem then. I'll make sure to take better care of Zayn, and I'll talk to my mother-in-law about her actions as well. Also, as Zayn's teacher, I feel like it's my place to tell you that someone like your mother-in-law is not exactly the best influence on Zayn. He could pick up a lot of bad behaviors from her, which would only affect him in the long run. Yes, I know. My mother-in-law is only staying with us because her house is being renovated. Zayn isn't her biggest fan because he hates her pranks too. I'll make sure to keep her away from him anyway. That's good. Will you be able to make it to school in an hour? Yes, I'll be there. My face was red and I didn't know if it was because of embarrassment or anger. I immediately called Owen and explained what had happened. We took the rest of our days off and made our way to Zayn's school. When we got there, Miss Harper had Zayn standing with her while we sat with the principal. The principal handed us the note that Edith had sent Zayn, and it was exactly like one of the notes that she'd sent Owen when he was in high school. It had a lewd joke at Miss Harper's expense and a very unflattering. It had a lewd joke at Miss Harper's expense and a very unflattering caricature of a woman with reference to that joke. For the next hour or so, Owen and I spoke to both the principal and Miss Harper about how inappropriate the note was. They reminded us of the school policies and told us that they were only letting it go this time because this was the first time. The principal was very firm when he told us that if Corey came to class with another inappropriate note like the one that he had brought in that day, they would be forced to expel him. Of course, Owen and I promised him that it wouldn't happen again, and that's when both the principal and Miss Harper began to ask more questions about Edith. They asked Owen and me first and then Corey, and it became pretty clear to them that none of us liked Edith or her antics. The principal then went on to berate us for tolerating Edith in our lives for so long when she'd been so horrible to Corey almost all his life. Owen and I were ashamed, but we also recognized how right he was. We had let Edith manipulate us for too long, and our son suffered at her hands. We left the office with Corey in our arms, and we took him out for ice cream and made sure he was doing okay before we went back home. When we got home, Edith was standing at the door waiting. "How was school, Corey?" "Corey, sweetie, go to your room. Mommy has to speak to Nana." "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Do you know how much trouble you almost got Corey in today?" "What do you mean do not play dumb, Edith? We were called into Corey's school because of the note that you put in his lunchbox. Why did you do that? Do you know how embarrassing that was for us? Oh, come on. That was just a joke. Why is everyone so uptight? I'm sure his teacher got a good laugh out of it." "You think his teacher got a good laugh out of you calling her fat and ugly, among many other explicit words?" "I would have laughed. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about what you find funny or not, Mom. You almost got my child thrown out of school because you thought something was funny. Geez, when did you get so uptight? You used to laugh on my jokes. I liked them when they weren't embarrassing or hurtful, but this is crossing way too many lines." Lena and I had to sit in front of the principal today and listen to him and Corey's class teacher berate us for the note and for letting you near him. So let them say what they have to say. You're not going to listen to them, are you? Of course I'm going to listen to them. I've tolerated enough of your humiliation, and it's time for you to go. What, you're choosing some humorless loser's words over your own mother? No, I'm choosing my son over your humorless gags. You need to get out of our house and out of our lives for good. I don't ever want to see your face again. You can't be serious. You're my son. You can't just abandon your mother this way. Lena, say something. We warned you before you came to stay with us that we would kick you out if you played any more pranks. You agreed to not do it either, and now that you did, you need to face the consequences. Fine, you can kick me out of the house, but you can't kick me out of your lives for good. I promise. Lives for good. I promise I won't do this again. You've made this promise a million times already, and every single time you've broken it. Why would I believe you now? You've caused enough distress to my family, and now I won't allow any more. Pack your bags and leave. Son, please. You can't keep me away from my grandson and you. I love you so much. I'm your mother. You should have acted like my mother instead of some monster who loved to humiliate her grandson as a joke. Get your act together and leave us alone. Owen left us standing there and locked himself up in the bedroom. Edith was a crying mess and she kept asking me to get Owen to change his mind, but I was firm with my decision to not help her out. I was a little sad for her, but my anger towards her far outweighed any sympathy I felt towards her. We had given her so many warnings about her behavior and her jokes, but she never listened to them. I don't know why she was so upset when she should have seen this coming. I know that she thought Owen looked up to her as a role model, but that stopped being the case when Owen was 16. I helped Edith pack her things up after that. She kept taking breaks to cry, but I kept going. I was not going to coddle her or try to make her feel better. She deserved to feel a little remorse. I hoped that would at least knock her down a peg. I hope she used this as a lesson to be more considerate of other people's feelings. I thought about this while I was packing Edith's things up, but those thoughts were swiftly gone when right before she left, Edith looked at me with spite and told me that she was going to fight to get her grandparents' rights over Zane because she was going to be in our lives whether we liked it or not. She was never going to change. The next few weeks were spent hiring a lawyer to fight against Edith because she really did try to fight for her right to visit Zane. However, Zane explicitly stated that he did not like Nana and did not want to be around her. Along with that, I got reports from Zane's school about Edith's inappropriate gag. That was enough for Edith's request for visitation to get denied. Edith was fuming at that. She kept trying to contact us to tell us that she was never leaving our lives. She even went as far as to show up at our house at random times just to knock at our door and scream like a banshee. Initially, Owen and I ignored her, but when we noticed how terrified Zane was getting, we decided to file for a restraining order against Edith. Once we were granted that, Edith stopped coming around. That did not stop her from blasting us on social media for being horrible people with no sense of humor or care for their family. Owen and I decided to block her and move on with our lives. Knowing that Edith isn't going to be a part of our lives for a very long time is a very comforting thought. I feel a lot more at peace and Zane is even happier. He no longer has nightmares or worries about every little thing. I don't know what's been happening with Edith and I don't care to know either. We're back to being the perfect happy family and there's nothing better than that.